know it's going to sound naive. Many of you with the crystal ball are going to say much earlier than that. You're just hanging on to hope. After CeeDee Lamb scored his touchdown, I was like, all right, we got a shootout. I think Kevin Burkhardt said that on television. That was the radio call on your home of the Cowboys. Shan, RJ, and Bobby, thanks to the 6 a.m. club representing strong on YouTube, Twitch, and the fan cam. But this is Jalen Brooks stumbling and being at fault for the interception that Dak Prescott threw. It was 28-13 at this point. If you can score a touchdown, you're fine. If you can get points via field goal, okay, you're still within striking distance.
And you get the ball. The
interception before the half, a 45-yard return. Derek Carr sneaks it in, 35-13, game over. But I still had hope that this was going to be a shootout, back and forth. Carr will cool down. He'll make a mistake. Micah Parsons will show up. They'll get a third down stop. They'll get some type of stop. Mike Zimmer adjustments at halftime to try to stop Kamara, but I still had hope up until that interception. That was the final nail and over for me.
That was it. That was it, because that was, you had, like you said, you'd say you score there, it's 28-20, 28-16, and then you get the ball, and they do get a field goal, so it could be at best 28-23, and you've got a dogfight, because the Saints aren't going to sit there and maybe not run the same kind of offense they did on that first drive. That first drive out of the half.
First half.
The first drive out of the half. That to me was far more embarrassing than any of the drives in the first half, because you had a chance to go in and reset. Okay, you were back to the drawing board. Hey guys, you get 16 minutes at halftime. You knew what they were going to do. They were up big. They were up by 20, and you still couldn't stop it. Right? I mean, it is now maybe at 35-13 with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter is too early to start taking the air out of the ball, but they did. And that was like an 8-minute drive. And to me, that is the biggest star down of the entire day, is that one drive. That one drive has, I mean, you could sit there and you can do an entire coaching lesson on that one drive. Tackles getting blown off the ball, not being able to set the edge, not being able to stop anybody. If they wanted to pass, they could. I mean, they had everything going on that one drive, and it took forever. It was an 8-minute drive, and they scored it.
And that is when they finally, I think this is the drive, they finally got a third down stop. Jordan Lewis penalty.
Yeah.
3rd and 9. Oh my gosh. Way too many times recently I've been watching Cowboy games, and I'm like, man, I'd be so thankful for one stop. Again, the word literally. Just one stop. I tweeted, give a standing ovation if they get one stop. And we're talking about this into the second half, midway through the third quarter. Can you just get one for any type of glimmer of hope? And then Kamara scored his 4th touchdown as the Saints just continued to pour it on.
That 4th touchdown, that was when you could tell the defense was like, we're not making a play today. Like, I mean, he ran right into traffic like 3 different times and nobody brought him down. It's like, tackle the guy. Like I understand he's really difficult to bring down. He's a bowling ball. When he's in that much traffic, knock him over. Just make a play. And they weren't doing that. Like, I mean, linebackers were late to the ball all day. The defensive tackles were bad. I watched back some of the game, just the TV copy last night, and Linval Joseph was awful. He was just putrid in this game. And the defensive tackle play was not very good, which is going to affect the linebackers, but the linebackers were late. And Damone Clark was not very good. Eric Kendricks was not very good in this game.
Let's get to Star Up, Star Down, brought to you by Crown Royal, the official whiskey of the National Football League. And you said something last night, and then in the commercial break, explain the snap disparity between Damone Clark and Overshown, 41-18.
Yeah, I'd love to explain it. I don't understand it. Damone Clark played 41 snaps. Maris Leofau played 39 snaps. DeMarvion Overshown played 18. So DeMarvion Overshown was essentially, out of the guys, you exclude the guys you bring in and blow out time like Nick Vigil and Israel Mukuamu. Overshown pretty much played the fewest snaps of any rotational defensive player.
Try
yesterday.
and explain it.
The only thing
matchup wise would make Zimmer be like, all right, Overshown out here against these guys will not work.
You wouldn't want him out there with Kamara there. You wouldn't want. He's too fast. You wouldn't want him out there.
He's your lightest linebacker. So I don't know. They're worried about him being able to, against a guy like Kamara and against a physical game, they're worried about him coming off blocks. That's the only thing I can think. But I even still think that's silly. Like,
Is there a chance his knee was like just tight?
Maybe. I don't think so though. Like, because I asked around from people last night, like, is he hurt? Is he banged up? And everything I heard was like, nope, no, he's good. So to me, it was more about. It seemed like it was just a matchup thing. Because it was, and I guess it's just they felt like he is like we've talked about. He's a thinner linebacker. He's not as stout as Leafau. He's not as stout as Clark or Kendricks. And so the only thing I could think is this is going to be a power run game, and we don't want him getting, moved in there because he's a little lighter.
Who else is on your star down list?
Everybody. So I had put it in my email last night. This is a game where you could honestly put 30 players with star downs. So instead, I pulled up the roster while I was sitting up there at AT&T Stadium doing my email, and I just looked, and from player number 1, literally wearing jersey 1, all the way down to 99. I just went down. I was like, let me pick out the ones who are the absolute worst as I just go down the list. So very top of the list, number 4, Dak Prescott. And I know, like Brian said in the postgame, that he thought
here we go.
Dak kept them in a lot of this game. I thought Dak was really timid early, and then it was reckless late. And to me, there was never the right balance. He didn't strike the right balance with a lot of the stuff that he was doing at the line of scrimmage. But I will say, did you notice what Brady said during the game? I think it was like during the second quarter, where he essentially said what we were talking about at the end of last week. He's like, this is not Mike McCarthy's offense anymore. Like, this is Dak runs the offense.
Yeah.
So that's
and
improvement.
the offense was not good enough or consistent enough. And so if Dak is running the offense, that falls on Dak.
I don't. They felt like there was a lot of Scott Linehan yesterday. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of passes that were thrown to stationary guys coming back towards the line of scrimmage.
Very different. I don't know what they were trying. I don't know if it's just they were.
Did you see that too? It just seemed like they were all coming back towards the line.
I don't
of
know
scrimmage.
what they were doing with the offense yesterday. There was stuff in there that we don't see consistently there. They were running Zeke outside. They were running Deuce Vaughn inside. They were throwing like these quick like smoke routes to Kevontae Turpin to try. I don't know if it's just they felt like this team's too physical. We can't win between the tackles, so we got to get guys in space. But man, there was a lot of just quick throw. All right, let's try and put it out here on an island and see if they can make a play. They almost called this game early on like scared of the physicality.
Look, I thought that Dak was better yesterday than he was against the Browns, and I think he was better yesterday than he was against the Packers in the playoff loss.
Sure.
There's a reason that we all just said we felt like before Jalen Brooks calls the interception, the Cowboys kind of still had a chance because the offense was scoring. Now, the big problem, and I feel like deja vu talking about this last year, red zone finishing, right? All the Brandon Aubrey field goals. You did not have Jake Ferguson out there. That speaks to a weapons issue, wide receiver depth, Dak not making guys better, but I'm not ready at this point at 6:29 in the morning to get into the Dak Prescott fight with those who just want to continue to blame him at the same level as Mike Zimmer and the defense, because I'm not going to accept that. Again, not great. I like what you said about reckless late, but they scored on their first 5 drives. They scored on their
6,
4 out of their first 5 drives, something like that.
Oh, Dallas did.
Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah.
So the offense was matching. And then the Jalen Brooks interception, I thought, ended it all.
I guess I look at it like this: you got field goals your first 2 drives because you couldn't execute when things got tight. That's a problem to me. And then on the touchdown, that's CD made a play.
Yeah.
And so to me, it felt like that's 1 touchdown, and it felt like kind of a fluky CD going all world against 2 defenders kind of thing. So to me, it's like the design didn't do enough.
Yeah, but what was Dak doing bad up until that? Like the Zeke underthrow. This one almost drove me crazy on social media. I stayed away from replying, but he got hit. He had pressure. That's why the throw to Zeke came up short in the right flat. Like, and I think Brady was even a little bit unfair. Like, you just got to make that throw.
I'll be really interested to see when Seth Walder gives us the motion numbers this week, because I think that was another problem. Dallas was way too static this week. They were too willing to just, all right, let's line it up and go. They didn't do a lot of motion at all.
Dak Prescott, were you surprised with how the Saints picked apart y'all's defense?
Yeah, it's surprising, but it's the NFL. Hell, I'm thinking it'd be nice to be doing that on our side of the ball more than I'm worried or critiquing our defense. Obviously, that's a good team. I mean, Alvin Kamara has looked damn good. Derek Carr put the ball where he needed to. That offense is rolling right now. I mean, we're 2 games in, but I'm not naive to their stats of, or whatever it was, the 9 straight, and then they walked into this game and continued on that. So, I mean, credit to the play caller over there, to that team of coming out, being ready on a noon start, and, it made it tough on our defense, which made it tough on the whole team. So I'm trying to get there with our offense.
Cam just said it on Twitch. The Saints finished their drives. Dallas did not. Sean, wish I'd watched the same game you saw. Their offense was fine early on. It just was. I know you want them to score and end result in every single touchdown, but it was a back and forth game early on in this one. It was 21-13.
They were putting points on the board.
They were down 8. They weren't finishing with touchdowns. It was 21-13. And then they were on the way to try to score before the half, and the interception ended the football game. I'm not going to sit here and praise Dak in the second half, but this was not as bad as the Packer game when it felt like he was choking.
The Packer game was worse.
I remember saying that. I remember watching throws, thinking like he's shriveling, he's crumbling. I didn't feel that yesterday.
Still below AT&T standards. So when they're at home, this was the lowest scoring game they've had at home in over 2 years. So it was still very underwhelming.
Who else is on? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, part of that, though, is the Saints did control. I mean, the clock was controlled by the Saints for a large part of this game. They basically lost the entire third quarter on one drive.
Yeah, in the third quarter. But I mean, before that, there was a 9-second drive in there. There was a 2-minute drive in there. They were scoring quick early.
There's no doubt about that. Look, I don't want to give this guy a ton of star down, but because he did have the most pressures on the team, but. There's no way Micah could look at this game and thought that he had a good game. He did not even show up in the stat sheet at all, hardly. He had 3 tackles, which again, Carr only had 16 dropbacks. So it's not like you're going to get a ton of pressures there. But when they did, except for the Shaheed touchdown, blatant hold on Micah. Blatant hold that they missed. But other than that, I don't even think I heard his name.
I saw some leadership. He was in a lot of those sideline huddles, and afterwards, he was defending Mike Zimmer like it was Uncle Dan Quinn. To me, quote, it had nothing to do with the scheme. I thought Zimmer called a pretty good game. At the end of the day, I just believe we got outplayed. Whoever played on that field, everyone didn't play to 100%. That's just me being accountable and saying the truth. We all got to play better.
Per next gen, his get-off time of, 0.99 seconds was the 5th slowest of his career. Whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
That's that's snap of the ball. So basically, if it's
like a pop time, catch a pop time.
Yeah, I would have to look at. I would assume that means he is about a second. He's not moving until about a second after the ball's been snapped.